Welcome back to Deep Blue Tales, where we explore the most incredible true stories from the depths of our oceans. Today's story will shatter everything you thought you knew about one of the ocean's most intelligent creatures. Before we dive in, if you're new here, hit that subscribe button and join our community of ocean lovers from around the world. Also, drop a comment telling us which city you're watching from. We love seeing how far our tales travel. And if this video blows your mind, give it a like and share it with someone who thinks they understand the ocean. In 2015, a marine biologist named Dr. Jennifer Mather was conducting routine behavioral observations at the Seattle Aquarium when she witnessed something that shouldn't have been possible. A giant Pacific octopus named Billye was handing objects through the glass to one specific aquarist, but only that person, and only when that person approached the tank. This wasn't random. This wasn't instinct. This was intentional gift-giving to a recognized individual. And according to everything scientists believed about octopuses at the time, this creature shouldn't have been capable of any of it. For over a century, we've been studying the giant Pacific octopus. We've measured them, dissected them, catalogued their anatomy, and confidently declared what they can and cannot do. We were wrong. Catastrophically wrong. And the truth is so much stranger, so much more unsettling, and so much more incredible than anyone imagined. Let me show you exactly how wrong we were, what we thought we knew. The giant Pacific octopus, Enteroctopus duflani, is the largest octopus species on Earth. They can weigh up to 150 pounds with an arm span reaching 20 feet across. They live along the rocky coastlines of the North Pacific, from California to Alaska, across to Japan and Russia. For decades, scientists confidently stated these facts about them. They are solitary creatures that avoid social contact. They have short-term memory lasting only minutes. They cannot recognize individual humans. They do not form emotional bonds. They operate purely on instinct and basic conditioning. They live alone, hunt alone, and die alone after reproducing once. This is what every marine biology textbook taught. This is what researchers believed. This is what we told the public in aquariums and documentaries worldwide. But here's the problem. We were studying them all wrong. We were observing them in sterile laboratory conditions, in small tanks under bright lights with minimal interaction. We were treating them like simple invertebrates instead of the complex, intelligent beings they actually are. And when scientists finally started paying closer attention, everything we thought we knew collapsed. The first crack. There are two species. In 2012, a fisheries biologist named Nathan Hollenbeck was examining giant Pacific octopuses collected from Alaskan waters when he noticed something odd. Some specimens had a distinctive frill of papillae, small, fleshy projections running along their mantle. Others didn't. Some had 2 white spots on their heads. Others had 1 or none. For years, scientists assumed these were just individual variations, like humans having different hair colors. But Hollenbeck suspected something deeper. He collected tissue samples and sent them for genetic analysis. The results were shocking. These weren't variations of the same species. They were 2 completely separate species that had been living side by side, undetected, for over 100 years of scientific study. The newly identified species was named the frilled giant Pacific octopus. It had been hiding in plain sight the entire time, misidentified in every aquarium, every research paper, every conservation assessment. Think about what that means. We've been studying these creatures since the 1800s. We've caught thousands of them, dissected hundreds, published countless papers, and we didn't even know we were looking at 2 different species. If we got that wrong, what else did we miss? The answer? Almost everything. The memory revelation. Dr. Jennifer Mather, a psychology professor at the University of Lethbridge, who has spent over 30 years studying octopus cognition, began conducting experiments that would shatter our understanding of octopus memory. In one study, she and her team had different aquarists interact with the same octopus over weeks. One person always fed the octopus pleasantly. Another person touched the octopus with a bristly stick, not harmful, just annoying. After just a few interactions, the octopus began behaving completely differently toward each person. When the nice person approached, the octopus would come to the front of the tank, arms extended, ready to interact. When the bristly stick person approached, the octopus would retreat to the back, change color to darker, defensive tones, and occasionally squirt water at them. This wasn't Pavlovian conditioning. The octopus wasn't responding to a sound or a movement pattern. It was recognizing individual human faces through murky water and glass, remembering weeks of past interactions with each person, and making decisions based on those memories. Further research confirmed octopuses can remember individual humans for at least several months, possibly years. They can distinguish between people wearing identical clothing. They can recognize someone even if that person changes their appearance, suggesting they're using multiple sensory inputs, not just vision, but possibly scent, movement patterns, even electromagnetic signatures. We said they had minutes of memory. They actually have months, possibly years. The social intelligence we denied for decades, we called octopuses asocial and solitary. We said they had no capacity for social bonds because they live alone in the wild and cannibalize each other if housed together. Case closed, except it wasn't closed at all. We were forcing them into tiny enclosures and wondering why they became aggressive. It's like judging human social behavior by locking two strangers in a closet and seeing if they fight. When researchers started observing octopuses in larger, more complex environments with proper enrichment, everything changed. Octopuses began showing signs of social awareness, preference for specific individuals, and even what appeared to be affection. At the Alaska Sea Life Center, an octopus named Aurora would only interact with one specific volunteer. When that person came to work, Aurora would emerge from her den, change to bright, excited colors, and press her arms against the glass. When other people approached, Aurora ignored them completely. This wasn't about food. Aurora was fed on a schedule by multiple staff members. This was about preference, about connection, about choosing to interact with a specific individual because she wanted to, not because she was conditioned to. Multiple aquariums reported similar behaviors. Octopuses greeting favorite handlers, octopuses becoming visibly excited when certain people arrived, octopuses showing what can only be described as playfulness with trusted individuals. Dr. David Scheel, a marine biologist at Alaska Pacific University, documented octopuses engaging in what he called exploratory play, interacting with objects not for food or shelter, but apparently for enjoyment. They would roll bottles across their tanks, disassemble floating toys, and manipulate objects in ways that serve no survival purpose. Play behavior is a hallmark of intelligence. It's seen in mammals like dolphins, primates, and dogs. It requires curiosity, imagination, and the ability to engage in activity purely for mental stimulation. We said octopuses couldn't do this. They can. They absolutely can. The gift-giving phenomenon. Now we come to the truly bizarre part. The behavior that made researchers question everything. Gift-giving. Multiple aquariums have documented giant Pacific octopuses deliberately handing objects to specific people through tank openings or gaps in lids, not dropping them, not discarding them, handing them with clear intentionality to chosen individuals. At the Middlebury College Octopus Lab, a researcher reported an octopus collecting shiny pebbles and shells and presenting them to her through a feeding hole in the tank lid. The octopus would wait until the researcher approached, then carefully extend an arm holding the object and place it in her hand. Why would an octopus do this? There's no survival benefit. There's no food reward. The researcher wasn't conditioning this behavior. It emerged spontaneously. The only explanation that makes sense is one that sounds almost absurd. The octopus was offering gifts to a favored individual as a form of social bonding. Gift-giving behavior has been documented in only a handful of non-human species, corvids like crows, some primates, dolphins, and a few others. It requires theory of mind, the understanding that other beings have their own thoughts and preferences. It requires the desire to please or connect with another individual. It requires social and emotional intelligence at a level we explicitly said octopuses did not possess. We were wrong. The brain that defies classification. Here's where things get truly alien. In 2024, a team of Japanese neuroscientists at the University of Tokyo did something unprecedented. They surgically implanted electrodes into a giant Pacific octopus's brain and recorded its neural activity while the animal moved freely and interacted with its environment. What they found was a brain oscillation pattern that has never been observed in any other organism on Earth. A 2 Hz rhythm that doesn't correspond to anything seen in mammals, birds, reptiles, fish, or any other studied animal. Human brains produce alpha waves, beta waves, theta waves, predictable patterns associated with different states of consciousness. Every vertebrate has similar patterns with minor variations. But octopuses? They have something completely different. Their brains operate on a frequency that is utterly unique in the animal kingdom. What does this mean? We don't know. We literally don't have a framework to interpret it because we've never seen anything like it before. It's like discovering an alien radio transmission operating on a frequency we didn't know existed. Dr. Tamar Gutnick, one of the researchers, said this discovery suggests octopus consciousness might be fundamentally different from vertebrate consciousness. Not less intelligent, just different. Operating on principles we don't understand with a neural architecture unlike anything evolution has produced elsewhere. The octopus brain is already weird by vertebrate standards. Unlike our centralized nervous system, where the brain controls everything, octopuses have a distributed nervous system. 2/3 of their 500 million neurons are in their arms, not their central brain. Each arm can taste, touch, and make decisions independently. An octopus arm that's been severed from the body will continue to react to stimuli, avoid painful touch, and even attempt to bring food to where the mouth used to be. The arms have minds of their own, literally. But here's what we just discovered. Those 8 independently thinking arms are somehow coordinated by that central brain in ways that require computational power we can't fully explain. The multitasking mystery. In September 2024, researchers published a study analyzing hundreds of hours of underwater footage of giant Pacific octopuses hunting and moving through complex reef environments. They found octopuses performing simultaneous independent tasks with different arms that would require a level of parallel processing that's almost incomprehensible. One arm searching a crevice for crabs, another arm anchored to a rock for stability, a third arm manipulating a shell, a fourth arm tasting the water for chemical cues, 3 more arms walking, one arm holding prey, all at the same time, all coordinated smoothly. All while the octopus's eyes track a completely different threat and its skin changes color to match the background. Human brains can't do this. We can't independently control our limbs to perform 8 different complex tasks simultaneously while also managing camouflage and threat assessment. Our brains would overload, we'd freeze up. But octopus brains, or rather the octopus distributed neural network, handles this as easily as you breathe. The research team concluded that giant Pacific octopuses may possess the most sophisticated motor control system of any invertebrate and possibly any animal. Think about that. The most sophisticated motor control system of any animal. Not just invertebrates. Any animal, including us. The camouflage that shouldn't work. Here's a paradox that has haunted octopus researchers for years. Octopuses are colorblind. Their eyes have only one type of photoreceptor, meaning they see the world in monochrome, essentially in black and white. And yet, they can perfectly match the color of their surroundings, reds, greens, blues, complex patterns, in less than a second. How do you match colors you cannot see? For decades, scientists had no answer. Then, in 2019, researchers discovered something extraordinary. Octopus skin can sense light independently of the eyes. Their skin contains the same light-sensitive proteins found in their retinas, distributed across their entire body. They don't just see with their eyes, they see with their skin. Their entire body is essentially a distributed visual system, sensing light and color at every point simultaneously, and adjusting the millions of chromatophores, color-changing cells, embedded in their skin to match the environment. Imagine if your entire body could see. If every inch of your skin could detect light, color, texture, and pattern, and automatically adjust itself to blend in. That's what octopuses do, constantly, unconsciously. We still don't fully understand how the neural processing for this works. We're looking at an intelligence so alien, so fundamentally different from ours, that we lack the conceptual framework to fully understand it. The loneliness myth. Let's go back to that idea that octopuses are solitary and asocial. Recent research is dismantling that too. In 2023, marine biologists using underwater cameras documented something unexpected off the coast of Alaska. Multiple giant Pacific octopuses in relatively close proximity, not fighting, not mating, just coexisting, tolerating each other's presence in areas with abundant food. In captivity, when octopuses are given large enough spaces with proper environmental complexity, they show far less aggression toward each other. Some aquariums have successfully housed multiple octopuses in enormous shared tanks with caves, hiding spots, and enrichment. What we interpreted as solitary nature may actually have been need for personal space, just like humans. We're social creatures, but we still need privacy, territory, our own space. Octopuses might be the same way. They don't school like fish or pod like whales, but that doesn't mean they're incapable of social awareness or connection. It just means they're selective. They choose their interactions carefully. They bond with specific individuals, human or otherwise, when they feel safe and trust is established. We measured them against mammalian social structures and declared them failures. We should have been measuring them on their own terms. The problem-solving genius. If you've spent any time reading about octopuses online, you've probably seen the viral videos. Octopuses unscrewing jar lids from the inside to escape. Octopuses dismantling aquarium equipment. Octopuses squeezing through impossibly small gaps. These aren't tricks. These are demonstrations of genuine problem-solving intelligence. But here's what most people don't know. Giant Pacific octopuses can solve problems they've never encountered before, without trial and error on the first attempt. In laboratory settings, researchers have presented octopuses with puzzle boxes containing food, clear containers with various locking mechanisms, latches, screw caps, sliding doors, mechanisms the octopuses have never seen before in nature or captivity. The expectation was that octopuses would use trial and error, randomly manipulating the box until they accidentally opened it, then gradually improve with repetition. That's how most animals solve novel problems. But octopuses did something different. They examined the box carefully with their arms, testing the mechanism gently, apparently analyzing how it worked. Then they opened it, deliberately, efficiently. On the first try, no trial and error, no gradual learning curve. This suggests they're not just reacting to stimuli or using conditioned responses. They're forming mental models of how mechanisms work, understanding cause and effect, and applying that understanding to novel situations. That's called insight learning, and it's extremely rare in the animal kingdom. It's been documented in great apes, corvids, some parrots and dolphins, and now definitively in octopuses. The escape artists' aquariums around the world have reported giant Pacific octopuses escaping from their tanks with disturbing regularity. And these aren't simple, oops, we left the lid open escapes. These are planned, deliberate breakouts that require observation, patience, and timing. At the National Aquarium in New Zealand, an octopus named Inky waited until night when the aquarium was closed and the lights were off. He squeezed through a small gap at the top of his tank, a gap the aquarium staff didn't think was large enough for an 80-pound octopus. He crossed the floor, located a drain pipe, and disappeared into it. The drain led directly to the ocean, 50 meters away. Inky made it home. He's presumably out there right now, living free in the Pacific. Think about what that required. Inky had to understand that the ocean existed outside his tank. He had to identify which direction the ocean was, despite never having seen it from his position. He had to recognize that the drain pipe, which probably smelled of salt water, was a route to freedom, and he had to execute this plan at night when humans weren't watching. That's not instinct. That's planning. That's understanding space, direction, and causality beyond immediate sensory experience. At the Seattle Aquarium, staff reported finding octopuses repeatedly dismantling the filtration systems in their tanks, apparently out of curiosity or boredom. The octopuses would unscrew bolts, disconnect pipes, and rearrange equipment in ways that required understanding how the systems were assembled. The aquarium had to start designing octopus-proof equipment. They're now in an arms race with creatures whose problem-solving abilities consistently outpace human expectations. The emotional depth. Here's where we enter territory that makes many scientists uncomfortable: emotions. For most of scientific history, attributing emotions to animals was considered anthropomorphism, projecting human feelings onto creatures that don't actually have them. But with octopuses, the evidence is becoming impossible to ignore. Octopuses display behaviors that, in any mammal, we would immediately recognize as emotional. Curiosity. Octopuses approach novel objects with clear exploratory interest, manipulating them in playful ways that serve no feeding or defensive purpose. Excitement. When favorite caretakers approach, octopuses display rapid color changes, increased activity, and approach behaviors that look unmistakably like enthusiasm. Affection. Octopuses gently touch trusted humans with their suckers in ways that appear tender, not investigative. Grief. When octopus companions die in shared research environments, surviving octopuses have been observed becoming lethargic, losing appetite, and displaying darker coloration for extended periods. Frustration. When presented with unsolvable puzzles or denied expected rewards, octopuses display agitated color changes and aggressive behaviors toward the frustrating object. Can we prove these are emotions identical to human emotions? No. But we can't prove that about dogs either, or dolphins or elephants. At some point, when the behavioral evidence is overwhelming, refusing to acknowledge emotional capacity becomes more about human bias than scientific rigor. Dr. Peter Godfrey Smith, a philosopher and octopus researcher who wrote the book Other Minds, argues that octopuses represent the closest thing we have to encountering alien intelligence on Earth. They evolved complex cognition completely independently from vertebrates. Our last common ancestor with octopuses lived 600 million years ago and had barely any neurons at all. That means octopus intelligence evolved from scratch, along a completely separate evolutionary path from ours. It's convergent evolution of cognition, nature arriving at complex intelligence twice through totally different routes, producing minds that work on fundamentally different principles but achieve similar results. The lifespan tragedy. Here's the cruelest fact about giant Pacific octopuses. They only live 3 to 5 years. All that intelligence, all that problem-solving ability, all that emotional depth and individual personality, and they get less than 5 years to use it. Most die after reproducing once. Females stop eating while guarding their eggs and essentially starve to death protecting their offspring. Researchers have tried to understand why evolution would create such intelligent creatures and then give them such brief lives. The leading theory is that octopus intelligence isn't designed for accumulating knowledge over decades, like ours. It's designed for rapid adaptation to complex, changing environments within a short window. But recent research is revealing something even stranger. Studies on senescent octopuses, octopuses approaching the end of their natural lifespan, show that their cognitive abilities don't decline the way mammalian intelligence does. Old octopuses solve problems just as well as young ones. Their memory doesn't fade. They don't get dementia. They just stop eating, driven by hormonal changes we don't fully understand, and die while their minds are still sharp. It's programmed death, not deterioration. Their intelligence remains intact until the very end. What if octopuses lived 50 years instead of 5? What if they could accumulate knowledge across decades? What if they could teach younger generations? We're talking about an intelligence that could potentially rival our own, if given the time to develop culture and knowledge transfer. But evolution didn't give them that time, and we don't know why. The communication we can't hear octopuses can change the color and texture of their skin in a fraction of a second. They have millions of chromatophores, millions of control points that can create moving patterns, waves of color, flashing displays. For years we thought this was purely camouflage, but researchers now believe it's also communication. Octopuses may be speaking to each other through color patterns we're only beginning to decode. The problem is we can't see what they're saying. Not fully. Octopuses can see polarized light which humans cannot. Some of their color-changing cells may be creating patterns in polarized wavelengths that are completely invisible to us. Imagine trying to study human language if you were deaf. You could see mouths moving, but you'd miss all the actual words. That might be our situation with octopuses. They could be having complex visual conversations right in front of us, and we're missing most of the content because our eyes can't perceive the full spectrum they're using. Recent attempts to analyze octopus color patterns using polarization-sensitive cameras have revealed flickering patterns and signals that aren't visible to the naked human eye. We don't know what they mean. We don't know if they're intentional communication or just byproducts of other processes. But the possibility exists that we've been watching octopuses talk for over a century and never realized it because we couldn't see the conversation. What this means for us. So let's put it all together. What have we learned? The giant Pacific octopus is actually two species that fooled us for over 100 years. They have memories lasting months or years, not minutes. They recognize individual humans and form preferences for specific people. They engage in social bonding, gift-giving, and emotional connection. Their brains produce neural patterns never seen in any other organism. They control 8 independently thinking arms in perfect coordination while performing the most sophisticated multitasking in the animal kingdom. They see with their skin and communicate in wavelengths we can't perceive. They solve novel problems through insight, not trial and error. They escape from captivity through planning and patience. They display emotions we can recognize despite 600 million years of evolutionary separation. And they do all of this in just 3 to 5 years of life. We were wrong about almost everything. And here's the truly humbling part. We're probably still wrong about a lot. We've only been studying octopuses seriously for a few decades. We've only had the technology to record their brain activity for a few years. We've only recently started considering them as emotional, intelligent beings rather than simple invertebrates. How much more is there to discover? What other capabilities are we still missing because we're not asking the right questions or using the right tools? What are octopuses capable of that we haven't even imagined yet? The giant Pacific octopus represents one of the most profound mysteries in biology. The existence of an intelligence completely alien to our own, evolved independently, operating on different principles, and yet recognizably intelligent, emotional, and aware. Dr. Godfrey Smith put it perfectly. Octopuses are probably the closest we'll come to meeting an intelligent alien. They're not like us. They don't think like us. Their minds work in ways we're only beginning to glimpse. And yet, when an octopus reaches out through the glass and gently touches a trusted human with its suckers, when it offers a shiny pebble as a gift, when it solves a puzzle and seems to look back as if to say, "See what I did." In those moments, we recognize something familiar. Intelligence, curiosity, connection, emotion, mind meeting mind across an evolutionary gulf so vast it's almost incomprehensible. We share a planet with creatures whose consciousness may be fundamentally different from ours, and yet we can still communicate, still connect, still recognize each other as thinking, feeling beings. That's not just scientifically fascinating, it's philosophically profound. It's humbling. It forces us to reconsider what intelligence means, what consciousness means, what personhood might mean. If an octopus can remember you, recognize you, give you gifts, and perhaps even care about you in its own way, what does that say about the nature of mind itself? It says that consciousness isn't one thing. It's not a ladder with humans at the top and everything else below. It's a garden with many different flowers, each beautiful and complex in its own way. The octopus mind is one of those flowers, strange, alien, and absolutely extraordinary. We were wrong about the giant Pacific octopus. We were wrong because we measured them against ourselves instead of trying to understand them on their own terms. We were wrong because we assumed our kind of intelligence was the only kind that mattered. We were wrong because we looked at creatures without backbones and assumed they couldn't have complex inner lives. The ocean is full of minds we don't understand, full of intelligence we can't measure with our human-centric tools, full of beings who think, feel, and experience the world in ways we're only beginning to glimpse. The giant Pacific octopus is our wake-up call, our reminder that the universe of consciousness is far larger and stranger than we ever imagined, and we share this planet with it, right now. Swimming in the cold Pacific waters, thinking thoughts we can't imagine, living lives we're only beginning to understand, reaching out across the evolutionary divide, offering gifts, making connections, showing us that intelligence wears many faces. We were wrong, but now we know better. The question is, what will we do with that knowledge? How will we treat creatures we now recognize as thinking, feeling, intelligent beings? How will we protect them, study them, and learn from them? The giant Pacific octopus is watching, remembering, waiting to see what we do next. Which of these discoveries shocked you the most? Was it the fact that we've been studying two species for over 100 years without knowing it? The brain waves that exist nowhere else on Earth? The gift-giving to favorite humans? The ability to solve problems through pure insight? Or the heartbreaking tragedy that these brilliant minds only get 3 to 5 years to exist? Let me know in the comments below. And if this changed how you think about octopuses, about intelligence, about what it means to be conscious, make sure you subscribe, because we're going to keep exploring the alien minds living right here in Earth's oceans. Share this with someone who needs to know that we share this planet with intelligence far stranger than we ever imagined. Thanks for watching, and remember, the deeper we look, the less we understand. And that's exactly why we need to keep looking.